the worse it feels to be in this country, the better off Donald Trump is, whether he's running for president or whether he is president. And sending troops marching into the streets.
Can I just say, as the only immigrant right now on this podcast who immigrated here legally, I feel much safer and better under a Donald Trump presidency than I ever did under a Biden presidency. Just want you to hear it from my mouth for what that's worth.
Do you feel safer about the fact that a Latino doctor crossing the street in Washington, D.C. is getting hassled or harassed because they're brown?
I don't think that I've heard that. Now,
okay, so you're not aware of any case in which a U.S. citizen who is...
Me, no.
Like you're
me, no, but I will tell you, for example, after 9/11...
Wait, you're on a podcast commenting about immigration. Surely you have some level of awareness.
Let me tell you, after 9/11, for example, for years I had SSS on my boarding passes.
Ugh.
I was pulled over constantly, and people probably thought that I was a Muslim hijacker. Mm-hmm. So I know what it feels like to be harassed. And what I'm telling you categorically is I feel safer in this presidency than I have ever felt. And I'm just letting you know that. It's just my lived experience.
We got to talk about Mayor Pete, okay? Because he recently went on a podcast called the All In Podcast with a couple of guys that we've checked out before, Chamath, Jason, and he absolutely embarrassed himself. As you saw in that first clip there, just making stuff up out of the side of his neck. And I want to check it out with you guys. We're not going to check out the whole video because it's over an hour long. It's a touch over an hour, so obviously we aren't going to check out the whole thing, but I definitely do want to check out a piece of it with you guys. So let's not waste a whole lot of time. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you are done with this Democrat Party, because I know I absolutely am. These folks are just absolutely terrible, and you're about to get another taste of it right here. So let's dive in.
Pete, do you think that Donald Trump made the right decision to close the border? And if not, why not?
I think that he is right to draw attention to the problem of the border, and that it is important to have a secure border. I don't believe it was true.
Just say yes. Just simply say yes. You see what Democrats do? They can never just simply answer yes or no. It's always this long soliloquy about a bunch of nothing, trying to dance around something. Just say yes. Just simply yes. That's all we need.
True that it was exactly open before. I think it is functionally closed now. But I would agree that the last administration... it is important to have a secure border. I don't believe it was true that it was exactly open before. I think it is functionally closed now. But I would agree that the last administration didn't do enough, and didn't do enough early enough on the border.
You're saying?
Yeah.
And why do you think Biden looked the other way?
Yeah, what was the strategy? Was there a strategy?
Yeah, I think what happened was he was really looking to Congress to do it. He came out of Congress. He was a creature of Congress, and thought, Congress can forge a bipartisan, since there's actually a bipartisan agreement among the American people on what to do, right? Which is what most people believe, what I believe, which is let's make it harder to come in illegally and easier to come in legally, and to get legal if you're not. I mean, that's where most people are.
That's about
where most
80% of the country.
Yeah, and that's where most of the space for compromise has been on the Hill. And yet, I think it was the 80s the last time we had an actual bill to fix it. So I think and this is speculating, I never really, was in the middle of the immigration side of things, but I think he felt like the way to do this was to get things done in Congress. He felt that, he managed to get the infrastructure bill done, IRA. But what's interesting is when he finally gave up on Congress, when it was clear that we just weren't going to get very far. And meanwhile, you had that set of executive orders that came late in the term. That had a major effect on the number of illegal crossings. So you got to ask yourself if that executive order...
No, it didn't. We all saw the videos. They didn't really change a whole lot, right? I remember, I'm sure you guys probably remember, I talked about it when Biden, or his auto pen, signed the executive orders, right? It didn't really change a whole lot. We still saw the images and the videos of Border Patrol letting people in, right? People still pouring into the country. There's that famous video where illegals literally pushed the gate open against Border Patrol, knocking the guys out of the way. So yeah, nothing changed. Absolutely nothing. That was simply a show. Hey, look, guys, we're doing something. No, you're not. You're not fooling me, okay? You're not fooling me.
That happened toward the end. If that had been done in year one, year two, would we be in a different place? Now, of course, we're on the other extreme. I mean, we got citizens who just have an accent or look brown getting picked up, sometimes getting detained without access to a lawyer for a frighteningly long amount of time. And that's citizens, let alone other people who, maybe they shouldn't be here, but they also shouldn't be brutalized, right? And I think one reason you see the pendulum.
I love how Democrats keep talking about, oh, well, we have so many citizens that are getting arrested. Show me the videos. Show me. Since we have so many American citizens that are being picked up by ICE, show me the videos. Oh, wait, exactly. You don't have them. And even the few where you did show, oh my goodness, ICE is taking in, the American citizens. There was one video out of, I believe it was Chicago, where the Tren de Agua gang was all inside this apartment complex. And so they went in and they took everybody out of the apartment complex and had everybody lined up. And were there probably some American citizens involved in that? Absolutely. And they were detained. And immediately after ICE could determine that they weren't a part of what was going on, they were let go. Obviously, that was a massive operation. You're not just going to let people just walk away from the situation. What if you're actually in on it? So even in those instances, I mean, it's just common sense. They're going to detain everybody in the apartment complex with this massive operation. They're not just going to let people waltz on out, like, duh. But of course, the leftists out here ran with it. Oh my goodness, they're detaining American citizens. They're deporting them. Oh, show me. We have activist judges out here. If Trump was genuinely deporting American citizens, we all know, I know, all these leftists know, one of these lunatic judges would have stopped Trump. I mean, they literally stopped Trump from deporting someone who was here illegally. You guys remember Abrego Garcia, or what was that his name? I think it was Abrego Garcia, if I remember correctly. The guy who was El Salvador illegal, and so Trump deported him to El Salvador. Well, you can't deport him because he can't be deported to El Salvador. Okay. Well, we'll just deport him to Uganda. I think he got deported to like some country in Africa, which is absolutely hilarious. Absolutely. We could have deported him back to his home country, but Democrats, no, you can't deport him back to his country. Okay, well, we'll deport him out in the middle of nowhere. How about that? Fine. Have it. These folks, man.
Swinging on this is we're seeing just how extreme it's gotten at a time when, again, I think the only way forward really is a kind of a grand bargain where we bring together the people who believe in these simple realities, that we've got an economy and a society that exerts a pull that actually needs more people, like for our demographics and our economy to work, then there is room in the kind of legal pipeline to come in.
Just to clean this up, Pete, like if it were up to you, would you reopen the border, or would you maintain the Donald Trump position right now of, okay, now it's closed, now let's figure out this grand bargain, as you say. Keep it closed. Let's be a little more precise
by what we mean. I mean, if you mean like having it be difficult, at least as difficult as it is now to cross illegally, I think it's a good thing for it to be difficult to cross illegally. But again, I think calling it open then or closed now, you're talking about a lot of different overlapping things. Obviously, there are a lot of things about Trump's immigration policy I think are wrong, destructive, possibly illegal. We can go to the second piece
too. I mean, if everybody has consensus that the border should be closed and it should be orderly and legal, great. It's 80% of the country. And then the majority of the country doesn't like what we're seeing with ICE agents without badges, wearing masks. That's the majority of the country is uncomfortable with this. A large percentage of the moderates who voted for Trump, at least this is what the surveys are saying, people are not comfortable with this. So I'm curious about what you think the motivation is. And you can go into conspiracy corner if you want. It's allowed here on this program. We can speculate. But the conspiracy corner for Biden was he wanted to let a lot more people in order to build the Democratic base, in order to get voters. Okay.
Of course. Of course he's going to shake his head no. But we all know that was the truth. I mean, because why else would you just completely open your border to anybody and everybody? What type of good could come from, just opening your doors wide open? What good is going to come from that? Exactly. I rest my case. Carry on.
That's one theory. Now, the theory here is Trump is doing these violent deportations, tackling people, spending a lot of money while doing it. Why? Why is Trump doing it this way? Why does Pete think he's doing it this way?
I think he thrives on a politics of fear. I think chaos is good for him. I think he thrives on chaos. I think when you see images of people getting beaten up, or what he used to call American carnage, like anything that validates that, basically the worse it's a weird thing, but the worse it feels to be in this country, the better off Donald Trump is, whether he's running for president or whether he is president. And sending troops marching into the streets.
Can I just say, as the only immigrant right now on this podcast who immigrated here legally, I feel much safer and better under a Donald Trump presidency than I ever did under a Biden presidency. Just want you to hear it from my mouth for what that's worth.
Do you feel safer about the fact that a Latino doctor crossing the street in Washington, D.C. Is getting hassled or harassed because they're brown?
I don't think that I've heard that. Now,
okay, so you're not aware of any case in which a U.S. citizen who is
no,
like you're
but I will tell you, for example, after 9/11,
wait, you're on a podcast commenting about immigration. Surely you have some level of awareness.
Let me tell you. After 9/11, for example, for years I had SSS on my boarding passes. And I was pulled over constantly, and people probably thought that I was a Muslim hijacker. Mm-hmm. So I know what it feels like to be harassed, and what I'm telling you categorically is I feel safer in this presidency than I have ever felt. And I'm just letting you know that. It's just my lived experience.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
think
glad
we're
you feel
all
safer.
well aware.
I'm worried about how most Americans feel.
Well, I mean, I think we're...
Of course, he could never address what it is that he was actually saying. Well, I'm worried about how most Americans feel. Yeah, we all feel safer. We all feel safer because under... And keep in mind, I want to bring this back a little bit, but because I forgot to mention this at the beginning. Keep in mind, Pete Buttigieg is someone who is probably going to run for president. Yeah, I know. Absolutely mind-boggling. This is the guy that is going to be running for president on the Democrat side. Him right there. Yeah, absolutely mind-boggling. That should tell you how terrible the Democrat Party actually is. How absolutely trash it genuinely is. This guy, who's only ever been a mayor, right? Because being the head of transportation, I wouldn't even get. He wouldn't even. No, he was just a figurehead. There were other folks, trying to run the show for him because he ain't know what the hell he was doing. I don't even know how this guy even became a thing. Like, how did he even get in the administration in the first place? Wasn't he simply a mayor somewhere? Like, this is just absolutely mind-boggling. But this guy's just blatantly lying about, oh, so aren't you worried about, the Latino doctor who was harassed? Well, you're on a podcast. You're not aware? Are you not aware that you and your party were absolutely destroying this country? And we were sick and tired of it, which is why we voted the way we voted. We didn't just vote to allow Uncle Trump to run this country, but we wanted to ensure that he could genuinely run the country, not just be a figurehead in the Oval Office, right? We gave him the House and we gave him the Senate. And even if you want to go beyond that, we gave him every single swing state and we gave him the popular vote, which a Republican hasn't done in over 2 decades. So I think that is a resounding middle finger to the entire Democrat Party. And these folks are still doubling down on their nonsense, the same stuff that they were doing before, lying, saying, oh, well, it's not as bad as blah, blah. Because you guys remember before the election that where the Democrats were, well, the economy is great. It's amazing. Mainstream media was even in on it. Well, if you look at the stock market, things are actually better than they've ever been. And it's like, bro, we're telling you, it is crazy out here. All right. We're telling you it's bad. And you keep telling us, oh, no, don't believe what's in your pockets. Believe us. Just believe us. And they're still doing it. They're still doing it. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, guys! Believe me, people to judge. There's American citizens that are being harassed and deported. Don't believe your own eyes because you haven't really seen any videos of Americans being deported. Don't use your own brain and think. Have I ever seen any instances? Have I heard about any judges like stopping Trump from deporting legitimate American citizens? No, I haven't. People to judge is like, no, don't believe your own brains or your own eyes. Believe me. These people are seriously psychotic. These people are genuinely evil, demonic individuals. To blatantly lie like that is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Like it's one thing to try to like bend and twist things, but to blatantly lie about stuff like this, it's just like, come on, bro. Come on. Like, you would have thought they would have given this act up by now, but they're doubling and tripling down on it. These people are evil, man. They're genuinely evil people. That is the only explanation. The only explanation.
We're all aware that people are being picked up and they're being racially profiled and their Fourth Amendment rights are being suspended here. And
let me put it a different way. Has it crossed your mind that if right now they started by going for people who are illegal and then they've started roughing up people who are citizens but who are speaking up against the administration, that even if you feel safe now, in a country where that sort of thing can be done, where people can, where even comedians could lose their jobs for criticizing the government, does any part of you wonder if that might ever come for you?
Pete, it did come for me. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. After the Patriot Act passed after 9/11, I had to come to terms with the fact that even as a legal immigrant into the United States, that I was going to get extra searches, I was going to get stopped, and it happened for 6 years. I came to terms with it. I put my head down and I kept working.
But that didn't mean it was okay, right?
It was a law that was passed. And people felt, for whatever reason, that there was an amount of racial profiling that could happen then. And what I'm telling you is every immigrant class at some point has felt this. My point is, it made things safer in the aggregate. And what I'm telling you now is what is happening now makes cities safer. It makes places safer. If you go to Washington, D.C., it is the safest it's ever been. And you hear this consistently from many, many brown and black people.
I guess what I'm telling you is if you take the amount of money that it costs to do a full-scale military deployment in an American city, and you just used it on, improving funding for the police and mental health and a whole lot of other things, you probably get a pretty good result that way too.
No, the fuck you. Oh my goodness. No, you wouldn't. We've watched it happen 1,000 times. You got these Democrat mayors completely bankrupting their cities. You got these Democrat governors completely flipping their budgets from a surplus to a deficit. As a matter of fact, the governor of Maryland, Les, I can't think of his name. Is it Les? Les Moore? Who's the what is his name? Maryland. I can't think of his name right. Why isn't it searching? What the? Oh, this isn't even. I'm stupid for that one. Goodness gracious. Put it up here. Governor Westmore. I thought it was Lesmore. Westmore. He had, when he took over Maryland, there was a budget surplus, if I remember correctly, and if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments, but they had a budget surplus of, I believe it was either 5.5 billion or 3.3 billion, right? Had a budget surplus. He flipped that into a budget deficit of like 3.3 billion in the hole. Went from a massive surplus to a massive deficit. And you see this in several different states, right? Where a Democrat governor has come in. Because simply throwing money at stuff doesn't solve the problem. We've watched it with the homeless issue. Look what Gavin Newsom has done in California. They've blown billions of dollars on the homeless crisis. We got to fix the homeless crisis. You are never going to fix the homeless crisis when you are paying the people who are in charge of fixing it. You're not going to do it. Stop paying the people who are in charge of fixing it, and then maybe you might make some progress. Simply throwing money at stuff does not solve it. We've watched it happen 1,000 times. Mayor Brandon Johnson, same situation, blowing the budget. Absolute. I mean, these folks, and that's always, you guys notice that is always the Democrat answer. Oh, well, just throw more money. Well, see, if you allocated more money, you guys have already taxed the crap out of us. You're not taking any more of our money. Goodness gracious. Does anybody else get so frustrated with these Democrats, bro? Man. Once again, hit that subscribe button if you are done with the Democrat Party, man. Goodness gracious. This is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, y'all get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Thanks for tuning in. As always, greatly appreciate all of the continued love and support. Stay safe. Peace and love. I'm out.